Strangely enough, there are multiple ways that you can import footage into Adobe Premiere Pro. Well, for this video, I want to jump in and show you all of the different ways that is possible. Jumping over into Premiere, we've got our project set up, and the first thing we want to do is import footage. Now, there's multiple ways to do this. Let's start by opening up our footage folder. And we've got this March 2019. And so the first thing that you can do, quick pro tip, is if you double click, it opens up a new bin with just that, and it's separate from everything else. So it opens up your bin in a new window, and you can undock that by hitting Control while you click and drag. So here is the bin that we've got going, and we are going to import some footage into here. The first way to import is by double clicking on your project window or your bin window. And this is where we've got our footage here. It's in 3/11/2019, and we want this footage here. I like to keep my folders the same for organization purposes, and I even separate it by day just in case I have multiple days of shooting. I know this was this day, instead of going through this big long list. So I'm just going to import this whole folder. Now I hit import and it imports everything, but one thing to note is, and it did work. Sometimes it will not retain your folder structure, subfolders. If you have too many subfolders, sometimes it removes and ignores some key elements, which is my real name. So just be aware, if it removes that, you may have to dig down a few before you bring it in your footage. So here is my footage that I just brought in, and I'm going to bring in my screen captures, which I have right here as screen captures. And so there is this one, and for now, I'm just going to keep them in the same day. So now we've got screen capture 01 and A01, and that is our footage imported. That's the double click method. So I'm going to just remove all of this, and I'm going to show you another way. Select that there and go File, Import. And here we can see our screen captures. We're going to bring in the screen capture. Let's see, this was not organized properly, so let's do this, 03/11/2019, and we're gonna move those into there. So to do this properly, we're gonna import this folder, and it imports into our project, just like that. And same thing, go File, Import, and go to our footage, raw, and the same thing, since we already have that folder, just import folder, and ta-da. Drop it in there, and that is another way we can import stuff. The next option, Control-I or Command-I, which is essentially the same thing as double clicking, but you don't have to use your mouse. So we're gonna come over here, import our 3/11/2019, import. It brings in that raw footage, as you can see, and we're going to hit Control-I, and again, come to screen capture and pull in that other one, import, ta-da. There is that one. So that is another method. Now, another method that I usually prefer when I'm working with large projects and trying to keep my files synced, and was essential before they allowed for opening multiple projects in Adobe Premiere, and that's the media browser. It defaults putting it right next to your project window. I prefer to move it over here, so I click and drag and put it next to my timeline, and that allows me to bring up both windows. So I will navigate to my folder. I'm gonna turn that into list view. And there's this Adobe Premiere Pro Media Footage Raw March 19, and I can do this. Right click and select import, and it imports it right on over, and there we go. There's our footage. Now I'm going to show you another way you can do this. Now we come over to our next element, so screen captures, March 31, 2019, and I can click and just drag it over. So there is that option. And there is actually, in case you were wondering, there is one more option that you can use when importing footage. And that is you go to your Finder or Explorer level, and we'll just import another section. So we're going to do February 2019. So click, drag, and drop. And what that's going to do is import all sorts of footage. So in it comes, and it shows you that there's lots of stuff that could not be imported because of unsupported file formats. And if you really want to know about that, it's these text files that my camera created. So it does not import those. As you can see, we've got all of our footage here, just like that. You can drag and drop from here and from any level. Those are the ways that you can import your footage into Adobe Premiere. So hopefully it helps you, speeds things up, gives you different ideas of how the program works, and gets you editing right away. If you've got more questions or thoughts about Adobe Premiere tutorials for making your movies, your content, whatever it is, I put together a playlist. You can check that out with all sorts of tips and tricks on how to use this program efficiently. It's what I use for all of my projects, and I've been using it forever, like 98, 99. Can you believe it was around back then? You buy a CD or you'd buy a piece of hardware, which were called capture cards, and you would get a version of Adobe Premiere with it. Enough about history. Go check out the playlist. Hopefully it helps you, and I'll see you in the next video.